Hello, I'm Sarah Emmett, Climate Justice and Environment Advisor, and it's a pleasure to introduce this video which gives an overview of progress from the past year and what our updated Environmental Action Plan hopes to achieve over the next 3 years. In the past 12 months, we have secured around £260,000 in grant funding from the National Church, including support for demonstrator projects and energy audits in churches and clergy properties, and funding heat decarbonisation plans in our schools. Over the next 3 years, we will be looking closely with the National Church, external funding providers and our Giving and Funding team to seek to enable as much financial support for net zero and creation care as possible. Alongside Somerset Wildlife Trust, the Wilder Churches initiative continues to thrive, supporting around a quarter of churches to manage their land with wildlife in mind. Our goal is to expand this initiative in 2025, with Bishop Michael being our first key speaker of the year. Another encouraging trend is the rise in churches achieving awards through a Roche's Eco Church initiative. This programme has been invaluable for fostering environmental awareness. Recently, the Eco Church survey questions were updated to reflect the Church of England's net zero goals. We want to take this opportunity to encourage as many of you as possible to commit to the Eco Church journey across the diocese by joining the 129 churches in our diocese already signed up. Thank you for your continued support and engagement. Together, we're making meaningful strides towards caring for God's creation.
Hello, I'm James Millard and I'm the Head of Property and Glebe for the Diocese. One of our first steps since the last action plan was to map all of our glebe using GIS software. This has given us a clear view of the different habitats, environmental designations across our land holdings. And this groundwork will give us a clearer understanding of those habitats and an important benchmark to enable choices to be made in an informed way to utilise the property. This will also give an opportunity to undertake a more detailed investigation for the potential diversification in relation to renewable energy opportunities than previously afforded. Looking ahead, we're collaborating with the National Church to survey our glebe tenants about their current land management practices. This survey will give us an insight into how we can support our tenants in adopting a more regenerative and environmentally sustainable agricultural practices, ultimately enabling our tenants to manage our land in a more regenerative and carbon considerate manner. Over the next 3 years, we will continue to explore opportunities for renewable energy generation and/or carbon reduction projects. This is a significant body of work that will require collaboration with our tenants, local communities and planning authorities as we move towards achieving the ambition of net zero.
Hello, my name is Iwan and I'm a member of the property team within the Diocese of Bath and Wells. As Diocesan Surveyor, I oversee the maintenance and management of the clergy housing. Our main aim is to create warm and safe environments for our clergy and their families to live in. Our team has been working hard to understand and reduce the carbon footprint of our clergy housing, moving us closer to our net zero goals. Over the last 2 years, we have made great progress in understanding the energy usage and emissions of our clergy housing. A big milestone has been to secure tens of thousands of pounds of funding from the Church of England's demonstrator project. This funding has allowed us to install low carbon technology into one of our clergy housing, significantly reducing its emissions. This house will now serve as a case study, providing us with valuable data and costing information that will guide our future projects. With the new action plan, we aim to continue to update the EPC ratings with all our clergy housing. Our property team will continue to analyse this data to inform the Board of Finance about our net zero funding needs. We will also plan and commission more detailed retrofitting energy audits, helping to better understand the financial commitments required to meet net zero.
Hello, I'm Matthew Pinnock, the Head of Finance for the Diocese. In the Board of Finance and the Diocesan Office, we're committed to reducing emissions and leading by example in our journey towards net zero. Over the past 2 years, the Diocesan Board of Finance has invested in securing grant funding for support staff who can help our parishes achieve net zero. This funding has allowed us to offer parishes the expertise and connections they need to reduce emissions, realise cost savings, and potentially explore financial opportunities linked to carbon neutrality. Our investments have been a critical focus. In the last 2 years, we have moved a portfolio of our funds to an investment manager, LGT Vestra, who showed a commitment to ethical investments. Ourselves and our investment managers are therefore monitoring the carbon and ethics policies of the companies we invest in, actively moving away from unethical and carbon-intensive practices and shifting towards funds with environmental benefits, while seeking to not compromise on the financial returns. In the next 2 years, we'll continue to seek to reduce emissions across our diocese. We have already trained and plan to provide more carbon literacy training to our staff so that they can tackle their own personal emission and carbon footprints. We'll keep encouraging green travel and reviewing options for ethically sourced office and cleaning supplies wherever possible. For our own office at Flourish House, we're exploring ways to improve our solar energy efficiency use and considering if alternative solutions like air or ground source heat pumps can be used to further green our energy supply.
Hi, I'm Claire Hudson and I lead the Diocesan Board of Education's work on net zero and our environmental goals. It's my pleasure to share the progress we've made and the vision we have moving forward. So since the last action plan, we've made strides in our net zero journey. We've commissioned heat decarbonisation plans for most of our voluntary aided schools, and the Bath & Mills Multi-Academy Trust have also undertaken heat decarbonisation plans. We're also exploring renewable energy generation options for our in-scope schools and working to foster good working practice with other schools and multi-academy trusts across the diocese. With our new energy plan, we're going to be building on biodiversity and creation care themes, which we actively share with our schools. We're going to be offering training to help schools better manage their land and also support the World of Schools programme. And next year we'll be providing a carbon literacy course for school leaders and governors. We know that our most significant environmental impact comes from inspiring our school communities to take action. And the combined influence of our students, teachers, visitors and governors is exponentially greater than just addressing the buildings. So we're going to work to engage the children and their families with green initiatives like Eco School, Green Travel Days and Eco Advent. By increasing our social media presence, we hope to reach the younger generation with engaging, accessible resources on how to care for the environment. And over the next 2 years, our in-scope schools will engage in cross-diocese collaboration to learn from successful projects and maximise our current resources. Together, we're looking forward to a future where our schools can make an even greater difference.
Hi, I'm Mark Lidster, the Church Buildings Advisor for the Diocese. Over the last couple of years, we've seen positive changes across our churches as we work together to lower carbon emissions and make our buildings more energy efficient. Since the last action plan was approved at Diocesan Synod, many of our churches have been able to reduce their carbon footprint, and this has been possible thanks to energy audits, site visits, and the advice provided by myself, my predecessors, and our Net Zero Enabler. Churches have introduced energy efficiency measures, switched to green energy suppliers, and even replaced traditional boilers with low carbon heating solutions designed to warm the person rather than the entire building. These are practical steps that have had a meaningful impact. Looking ahead, we aim to make the faculty process more accessible for churches, particularly those interested in adopting low carbon technologies. Our church buildings are central to our net zero journey, and we want to ensure they're part of this transition. We'll be focusing on heating solutions that are both low carbon and cost effective, heating people directly instead of large, hard to warm spaces. We hope more churches will follow in the footsteps of hundreds of others across the country and consider this approach to reduce emissions and cut costs. Another key priority for the coming years is establishing baseline temperature data for our churches. This will help demonstrate how central heating often falls short in church buildings, supporting the case for alternative heating options.
Hello, I'm Dan Wills, the Net Zero Enabler for the Diocese. It's been amazing to see the rising level of engagement with environmental issues across our diocese over the past 2 years. More and more of our churches, schools and clergy are reaching out to us for guidance on how to make their energy systems as efficient and as sustainable as possible. Since the last action plan was passed, our collaborative efforts within the diocese have grown much stronger, with departments working together as a united team focused on our net zero goals. One particularly remarkable area of progress has been our church's engagement with the energy footprint tool. Nearly 60% of our churches completed the tool this year, putting us amongst the highest performing dioceses in the entire country. We've also built valuable connections with other dioceses and external organisations, gaining access to funding, expertise and energy audits. Moving forward, we're committed to strengthening and expanding our partnerships to bring in the resources needed to reach net zero. And finally, we're also looking to explore community energy initiatives as a way of funding solar panel installations centrally, allowing our schools and our churches to access affordable solar power without the capital costs. The progress we're seeing shows that we have not only the capability, but also the drive to meet our 2030 net zero targets. Our in-house expertise and partnerships with external organisations will ensure we can reduce emissions as well as seize the financial opportunities linked to net zero. Together, we're working to cement our organisation's reputation and, most importantly, fulfil our fifth mark of mission by safeguarding the integrity of God's creation.